videos I've created so far and ones I will create in the future, this specific video might have the biggest impact on your skin. And that is because I'm addressing the crux of most of the issues that I've seen in my 28 years of experience interfacing with thousands of consumers. And this one issue that I'm addressing today is really the one that's responsible for either improving your skin drastically or damaging it completely. So I always say that many people, the majority of consumers today, go out into department stores and beauty stores, spend a lot of money to damage their skin. Many of you are using lots of exfoliants, whether intentionally or not. You could be using, let's say, a moisturizer or a brightening serum or a firming peptide serum, but hidden within the formula could be lots and lots of irritating exfoliants that are designed to kind of give you that wow factor. So brands, as they're formulating, very often they want to impress you. And so by that, they're going to put ingredients in there that are going to give you that quick gratification, and nothing is quicker than freshly exfoliated skin. But that's, of course, if you have dead skin layers just sitting there on the surface of the skin waiting to be exfoliated. And so it's a really narrow-minded way of thinking about skincare. And I think it's irresponsible on the part of many brands, many dermatologists, many estheticians, many skincare experts that are just pushing for so much exfoliation as if it's the one thing that's going to resolve everything. That's how it's really looked at. And so very often I'll be scrolling on social media and you'll see influencers go, this product transformed my skin, and you have the before and the after. And of course you see a face full of, I don't know, acne, pigmentation, whatever, and then you see the after. But just know that 99.9999% of the time, those are misleading because you don't know the frequency. You don't know what where their skin started. You don't know what else they're doing. And a lot of these images and videos are airbrushed. Let's get back to the basics of skin. If you're new here, my name is Nadia Ben-Chakroun. I am the founder of the beautydoctrine.com, home of functional beauty, and that's where we address all things healthy skin from the inside out and the outside in, applying lifestyle practices, diet, supplementation, all the things that are necessary to get you to have your best skin naturally and without intervention. I am also a certified skincare expert with 28 years in the beauty industry, specializing in sensitive skin. So let's quickly touch on skin structure. So we have the dermis, and that's where the collagen and elastin live. And then you have the epidermis, the outermost layer of the skin, otherwise known as the stratum corneum. This layer is pretty much dead skin cells, but they are there to protect your skin and prevent water loss. I'm sure you've heard these terms before, maintaining water in the skin, protect your skin. I don't think people truly understand how important it is to the integrity of your skin, to how you age, to what types of skin issues you develop. So let's go a bit deeper into what the skin needs, which is water. The skin is very basic, really, really basic. It's the same thing that your body needs to function. If we were to talk about what's essential for life, it's going to be water. And then what's essential for good movement, cognition, all the other things, it's going to be oil. And so this is really the same thing when you are thinking about skin. Water is what's going to keep the skin plump, balanced. The primary role of the stratum corneum is to protect your skin from water evaporation. If we just understand this principle and try to maintain as much water in the skin as possible, your skin issues are completely reduced or diminished. So we just need to do a really good job at keeping that water in. End of story. And so water is essential for life. It's also essential for the health of our skin. Our cells are filled with water. They need to stay plump. Plump cells mean plump skin, mean less fine lines, less wrinkles, but also less acne. Because when the skin is really dehydrated, that's when it gets imbalanced and it starts producing excess sebum to hydrate itself, and it's a mess. just by maintaining your water within the skin, you're keeping it healthy, you're keeping it wrinkle free. I've seen this so much. I remember earlier in my career when I was a makeup artist. I observed skin, right? And so I had a lot of clients that can be as young as 17 and 18 years old that have deeper wrinkles and fine lines around the eyes especially. And I could tell just by looking at their skin, I could tell that their moms started them on brands like Proactive, for example. It was really popular at the time. Typically had benzoyl peroxide, which is very drying. So anytime you're trying to dry out the acne, you are obviously drying out the entire skin, and then that causes almost like I think of it as like shrinkage of your cells, creating all those fine lines and wrinkles. Yeah, you can advance aging very, very fast if you're drying and dehydrating the skin, and the fastest way to dry and dehydrate the skin is to exfoliate it. Obviously, benzoyl peroxide, it's not an exfoliant, it dries you out, but within those formulations, like Proactive, there are alpha hydroxys, beta hydroxys, and then people that they're trying to get rid of acne, they're also using scrubs. The other very important thing about maintaining water in the skin and protecting that, water loss, preventing water loss, is, giving the skin its defenses against the sun. Again, just by maintaining that stratum corneum at the surface, you're preventing UV from penetrating as deeply as it would otherwise. And so that means less susceptibility to hyperpigmentation. The skin has stronger defenses. I want you to think of your skin when you're outside in direct sunlight. The skin is cooking. So think of like a potato. When you cut up potatoes, a potato, you could squeeze it, it has all this water. If you put it into the oven in the heat, the water evaporates. Now those potatoes can turn into potato chips. They're like dehydrated potatoes. So that is exactly what our skin is like. So we want to keep that water in so it's plump. You dehydrate it, whether it is from sun exposure. So my clear message here is that exfoliation is really not the solution for better, smoother, plumper, acne-free skin. It is, in fact, one that promotes and exacerbates all of those issues. Our skin is perfectly capable of exfoliating itself naturally. We have enzymes, that's their job. Our bodies are perfect, they're perfectly designed. So the enzymes that live on the skin, that's what they do. They cut the bonds between the live skin and the dead skin on the epidermis. And so the skin sheds, even just by washing your face. Anytime you're massaging your face just with your fingers, I don't recommend brushes and things like that. So just as you wash your face, you're shedding dead skin layers. You're just hanging out. Like right now, there are skin layers that are being dissolved. The only thing is those functions slow down as we age, as most things do with our body, right? So when you look at a child, a teenager, not really need exfoliation because our body's function is optimal when we're younger, and then those functions kind of slow down. We start slowing down eventually, unless you're into biohacking and you know exactly what to do, how to energize your mitochondria and increase your body functions. That's a whole other video. But in general, with most people, most of those functions within the body kind of slow down with age. That's when you need to start introducing exfoliation just as a reinforcement, not as a tool that you depend on 100% for your exfoliation. Again, when you're younger, in your 20s, you need to be exfoliating a lot less than somebody that's maybe in their 30s and 40s. But also we have to factor in skin type, specific skin issues that person has. And so as an example, for myself personally, even though I've been in the beauty industry now for 28 years, this is literally all I've done my entire adult life is work in skincare. I'm almost 47. I'll be 47 in just a few weeks next month. And all throughout my 20s, all throughout my 30s, I probably exfoliated about once a month, if that. Sometimes I'll go, 6-7 weeks. I don't even keep track. I'll go a while without touching my face with any exfoliating ingredients. And so I used to always say this, I let my skin tell me when to exfoliate. And so I'm never on an exfoliating schedule. And so by that I mean, if I'm cleansing my face, I touch my skin and I feel rough texture to the touch, that's when I'll reach for an exfoliant. Otherwise, it's just not happening. My skincare routine has to be really basic, has to be nourishing for the skin, protective. So I just let the skin do its thing and it does it really well. Again, our bodies are designed to perfection. So we have to think about all these tools that are available to us as solutions to issues that arise versus it's what I need to do because certain skincare brands told me I need to be buying these products. Remember, the skincare brands are in the business of selling products. So they want you to use as many of their products as possible. And this is something I've seen over and over and over and over again. They will give you a product with exfoliating agents, you're using it, now you're sensitized or you're developing pigmentation, and then you go back to the store and somebody goes, well, to fix those issues, here's another type of exfoliant. And then that creates a new issue, and then you go back and here is another exfoliant. And so we have to stop that cycle and allow the skin to start repairing. So back to my personal experience, now at nearly 47 is just like maybe about 2 or 3 months now, I've started exfoliating about once or twice a week because I am noticing that the shedding of my dead skin cells is slowing down. It's more sluggish. So I do feel that texture a little bit more often. But earlier in my 40s, I would say I was exfoliating maybe every other week, if that. So I want you to be your own skincare expert. Like really try to assess, start cleansing your skin and look at the mirror and feel your skin and then respond to what the skin is doing versus blindly just apply skincare products just because an influencer said so or a dermatologist created skin cycling and is like, oh, exfoliate on Monday, retinol Tuesday, exfoliate again Wednesday. Like that is insane. That is an absolute no. That's the fast track to aging versus slowing down aging. Now, let's chat real quick about the types of exfoliants and what ingredients to look for on the ingredient label. I want you to get used to always reading those labels. It's really not difficult. I know a lot of them have so many things you can't pronounce, but I'll tell you at least what to look for when you're assessing a product. I want you to go and grab your skincare products, every single one of them, and read those ingredient labels and write down how many exfoliating acids are actually in there. So to break it all down, there are only 2 categories of exfoliants. There are physical exfoliants and chemical exfoliants. Physical ones is when you're manually scratching the surface of the skin in hopes of removing that top layer. As you're scratching in a circular manner, separating the dead skin from the live skin, but at a cost. You're causing micro abrasions that you're not even seeing, and so now there is damage that's happening in the skin is becoming more sensitized. Physical exfoliants do not belong on the skin. It doesn't matter. I'm sure many of you have used the apricot scrub, for example. That hurts just thinking about somebody using a scrub that has sharp edges. Imagine crushed apricot seeds or walnut shells. Those are the worst exfoliants you can put on your face and even body. I would not use anything with like a crushed seed on skin, on human skin. And then you have physical exfoliants that are sugar, salt scrubs, the ones that dissolve, even though it has like a sharp edge. But if you're applying it on moist skin with water, you'll see that it dissolves. That's probably okay for the body. So sugar, salt, maybe coffee scrubs, those are all can be beneficial for the body, but we don't ever want to be touching facial skin with a manual scrub. Even, those that claim to have like perfectly circular microbeads and ones that are environmentally friendly, they can be friendly to the environment, they're not friendly to your skin. So physical scrubs are out of the question for your face, including brushes. So no dry brushing, like Clarisonic, like none of that. Your fingers are your best scrubs for your face. Now let's talk about chemical exfoliants. Chemical exfoliants are generally isolated from certain foods. For example, glycolic acid comes from sugar, lactic acid generally from milk, mandelic is almonds. When you see very often a phrase, on your ingredient list that says acid, the exception is hyaluronic acid. It's not exfoliating, but pretty much everything else is. So I'll throw in some names. So you have glycolic acid, lactic acid, mandelic acid, tartaric acid, citric acid. There's one that's not necessarily an acid, but it's very exfoliating and it can be irritating, urea. So where urea in high concentrations can be very irritating and has exfoliating benefit. Those are your water soluble exfoliants, and then there are fat soluble exfoliants. Those are typically BHAs or salicylic acid. So that's when I say fat soluble, that exfoliant is able to go through the fat layer, that protective layer that's deeper, and can actually start controlling oil and drying you out. So BHAs or salicylic acid don't necessarily interact with the sun like alpha hydroxy acids do, but they can be very drying and very aggressive, especially for dry skin. If you're dry, look at your ingredient list and make sure it does not have salicylic acid. Another class of chemical exfoliants are enzymes. So you'll hear fruit enzymes, for example. So you have papaya enzymes, they're very popular, or ones that come from pineapple, kiwis. So there are a lot of fruits typically that kind of tingle on your tongue when you consume them. Because they're very, very high on enzymes. And so if you apply those on the skin, they tend to break those bonds between the dead and the live skin. They replace our natural enzymes. They function as our natural enzymes do in removing that dead skin cell. All of those types of chemical exfoliants are going to be pushing away those dead skin cells from the surface, and our bodies can't generate that much dead skin as fast as we are applying these products. Our cellular turnover, we get a full cell cycle in about a month. They say 28 days. If you're using retinoids, for example, that can be a mere 2 weeks. So you have a full cellular cycle. You removed an entire layer of skin in 15 days only. And so that's a whole other issue. So you're already exfoliating when you're using retinoids. You're already renewing your skin. And so when I hear of skin cycling, it's mind-boggling, because it's just exfoliation on top of exfoliation on top of exfoliation multiple times a week. And that's the fast track to damaging your skin and aging it very rapidly. So take stock or inventory of your products with exfoliating agents and make sure to space them out. You want to get rid of some of them if they have high concentrations, and try to only invest in products that don't have any of these acids at all. And I'm talking about your daily products. So if you're using a cleanser, moisturizer, serum, all of those things that are staying on your skin all day or all night, they should not have exfoliating agents. But you should be looking for one product that has an exfoliating agent. So if you have solid skin, maybe it's oily, nice, strong, protective layer, you can go maybe with glycolic acid. But if you are on the dry side like myself, I prefer lactic acid, because lactic acid is more gentle than glycolic acid. It doesn't go as deeply into the skin, and it has hydrating properties. So it's ideal for dry skin types if used at a low concentration. I wouldn't be going to the ordinary lactic, not a chance. And then you have mandelic acid, for example, which is a larger molecule than lactic, so it doesn't absorb as deep. That tends to be my recommendation, of course, in low concentrations to very sensitive skin types. So I kind of I'm usually open to either mandelic or lactic acid, but in a mask or in a serum that I would use when I need exfoliation. So I have to be intentional about grabbing that specific product when my skin tells me to exfoliate. And again, those ingredients should not be in your daily products. I give a pass to a few. I one-on-one clients that I work with, and I see their skin, assess it. I could recommend a product to them that maybe has a very low concentration of mandelic acid. That's not going to have that much of an impact, and they can use that every night. That's okay, because they're hardly getting that exfoliating factor. But I do that because, let's say, they're struggling with a lot of texture or acne, or they have hyperpigmentation that they're trying to get rid of. And so I would carefully recommend that product for a period of time and then change to something else that doesn't have that exfoliant. So there are always few exceptions, but that's when there is that one-on-one interaction, when I'm actually monitoring their skincare routine and how their skin is responding to a given product. But just as a general rule of thumb, if you are curating your own skincare routine by yourself, just skip on the alpha hydroxys all at once in all of your products, with the exception of your mask that you would use every other week or every week, depending on what your skin is doing and age range, as I mentioned earlier. Now, let's say you are like the majority of the population that's interested in skincare. Obviously, there are some people that don't even use skincare. We're not talking about them, but we're talking about skincare junkies, or people that are aware of their skin and they're taking care of it. They're using a skincare routine. Generally speaking, you probably have created some sensitivity if you are consistently using exfoliating agents in your skincare. What should you do now? Well, so if you're like the majority of us, those that have been using exfoliants pretty regularly, potentially seeing some redness, sensitivity, reactivity, a lot of times people don't even realize if, let's say, they introduce a new product to their skin and it's just benign, it's a regular moisturizer and the skin is stinging, burning, and then they blame that moisturizer. Don't blame the moisturizer. It's your skin that's weakened. It's a lot less tolerant of anything, even regular ingredients. And so we want to kind of take a step back and just set all of that skincare aside. And then for about 3 weeks, I want you to only use a very gentle cleanser that's either oil-based or cream, like lotion-based. You'll find great options that are free of fragrance, essential oils, irritants, all that stuff. I have a curation on the beautydoctrine.com, and I'll put a link down below as well. So we only want a good gentle cleanser on the skin. Only barrier repair serum day and night. So that would be literally the only moisturizer that you would use on your skin. And then I would use a sunscreen that has no preservatives whatsoever. You can actually find one without preservatives if it's 100% oil-based, because preservatives are warranted and absolutely needed wherever there is water. And most skincare products are water-based, hence they require preservatives, and preservatives can be irritating. So we want to minimize any potential of irritation and just 100% focus on rebuilding that barrier layer. So quick recap: a gentle cleanser, barrier repair serum in the morning, followed by maybe Kerry Grand, because that's 100% oil-based sunscreen. And the zinc in there, zinc, believe it or not, is so healing for the evening. Same cleanser, same barrier repair serum, but now I want you to use a nice occlusive but clean. We're not doing petrolatum and all that nasty stuff. So we want something with maybe shea butter, cocoa butter, depending on the skin. But an easy recommendation that I can share is Skin Saviors. So your nighttime occlusive should be Skin Savior. It's 100% organic, really clean, no fragrance, essential oils, irritants, none of that. So it's just going to form that physical barrier that protects your skin at night, because we lose a lot of water overnight as our bodies are repairing, collagen and all that. So we want to minimize that water loss, and apply a generous layer of Skin Savior on the skin, preventing water loss, delivering ceramides to the skin. Both barrier repair serum and Skin Savior will deliver ceramides to the skin, which are the building blocks of that fatty layer. Very important to maintain that elasticity in the skin, moisturize, hydrate, and protect. Stick with this routine for at least 2.5 to 3 weeks. I would say 3 weeks is a good amount of time. And then you can go back to reintroducing products with actives, things that are water-based. So hyaluronic acid is essential for skin. For example, obviously, any hyaluronic acid formula requires preservatives. But if we're doing this slowly, we're reintroducing preservative-based products to the skin slowly, that's the very best way to go. And then you can add your peptide serum and then any other products that you want to add, as long as they don't have those alpha hydroxy, beta hydroxy acids, as well as enzymes in your daily routine. Meanwhile, because we're not introducing any added water to the skin topically, I generally love a mist. That's how I start my skincare routine. But for the purpose of allowing that barrier layer to repair, we want to give that water to the skin from the inside out. So if you are making sure that you're getting adequate intake of water, just your good old water daily, you're providing that to the skin. You're going to maintain your hydration within the skin internally while just focusing on that repair externally. Other things that can increase your hydration naturally are B vitamins. If you found this content helpful, please subscribe and share this video with somebody you care about. Can't wait to hear about your experiences with sensitive skin or exfoliants. And if you adopt these recommendations and you see results or you don't, please share with us as well. This is a place for all of us to learn from each other. Thank you for hanging out with me. And until next time, be well, be safe, be beautiful. Bye.